This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. You can find all my work at mjmunoz.com. So, I am here because I have something to say. I got announcements, I got news, and I have updates, I guess? I don't know. I'll start with the announcements, news, and updates. Wait, that's everything I said I had. Okay. Well, let me slow down a bit. I'm going to tell you this is episode 44 of Story Over Everything, and it's going to be called something like, Can I Be the Master of Middle Grade? And that might be a pretentious, ostentatious, overdramatic title / question / prompt for the episode, but I promise I'm going to deliver on that, at least for the episode. In real life, we'll see how things go. So, here we go. My first announcement, or a little bit of news, is that I'm back. Story of Everything, the long hiatus is over. It's done. I think I'm going to keep pretty consistent on here. I preference everything going back to mjmunoz.com. So, everything's going up at the blog. And what do I mean by everything? I mean that every day I'm doing my best to make sure I take 10 minutes to draw, 10 minutes to write. I take about 5 more minutes to read or play that back and record some sort of commentary over that. And I'm taking maybe 5 to 10 more minutes over that. So really, it's like an hour a day. If you take both and multiply everything out, it's about an hour a day of writing and drawing and getting it packaged and processed and posted online. So where am I doing it? I'm doing it on my website mainly, but I'm also doing it on TikTok, which allows up to 10-minute long videos, so I try to keep them under that length, and they're going to YouTube as well. But I've also decided that I'm going to start publishing them on the RSS feed as well. So, again, the preference is the blog. The secondary place I want you going is subscribing to the podcast, and the third place I want you going is to YouTube and TikTok, I guess. Or that's third and fourth. They're tied for 3 and 4 because I don't really feel strongly about either one of them. I don't feel very strongly about either one of them. So, excuse me. That's kind of the way I have things structured for myself. And to finish things off, I mean to say that with all that content I'm producing, by the way, I have maybe 100 videos that I have saved and processed like this that are not lost. I know where they are, but I'm not going to take the time to publish them right now because I don't have as the refrain goes on this show, I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of money, and I pray that'll change soon and I'll be able to say I do have a lot of time, I do have a lot of money, and this time I'm using it, and being a blessing to other people. So anyway, I'm still doing my best to bless now, but that's a story for another time. But what my point is that you can now tune in and subscribe to the RSS feed for the audio-only version of the podcast, and you can get my commentary from my writing and from my drawing. Now, the commentary for the writing, I'm actually reading back what I wrote, and then I'm making some sort of commentary on it. Excuse me. Getting over a little cold. In the midst of it, I'm at the tail end of a cold, so bear with me, please. And for the drawing, you're not going to be able to see it, but you're going to be able to hear my commentary on it, and I will provide links in the show notes of the audio podcast that take you back to mjmunoz.com. Yes! You know exactly where I'm going with this. Anyway, everything leads you back there so that you can go check out all that good stuff, see the images, maybe even pop over and see the video if you want to, or maybe if you're not that excited by the less than 3 minute process for me to draw. And actually, when I can speed it up times 8, and when I do that, excuse me, my throat's hurting. They say, whoever they are, that Benjamin Franklin said that beer is proof that God exists and He loves us. And I'm going to agree with that and say coffee is the same thing. Coffee, hot drinks. It's amazing how good a hot drink can feel in your throat when you're parched, when you're thirsty, when you got a little bit of cough or sore throat. It's stellar. It's amazing. It's miraculous. We live with miracles every day. Anyway, getting back on track. My point is that, you know what? I actually lost the thread here. I'm so excited, and I'm so in a frenzy that I'm having a little bit of a hard time, so please excuse me. I think my overall point is that now, instead of just having YouTube and TikTok videos going up, encapsulating my 10-minute writing and my 10-minute drawing videos, which you can't see the drawing video. Oh, here we go. You can't see the drawing video in, obviously, the audio format, but the audio format links you to the website so that you can see the finished picture. And, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. When I record for 10 minutes myself drawing, and I multiply by 8, which is the fastest that my video recording software is able to utilize at this time, it basically shrinks the video down to about 1 minute and 20 seconds, I think, and then I have other stuff on there, so it ends up being, it's too long for an actual YouTube short, which at this point is 1 minute long. Oh boy. And it's an okay length for a TikTok or for like just a short YouTube video, but I'm also using it as I'm also turning it into audio because I think I'm offering value in that audio. So, I don't feel like I'm cheating. I'm just putting my content out in like a smart way, which I think is a good thing. And it makes it so that basically 7 days a week I am having posts go up on mjmunoz.com. 7 days a week I'm having stuff go up on TikTok. 7 days a week I'm having stuff go up on YouTube. And 7 days a week I'm having something go into the audio podcast RSS feed. So, I've now gotten to the point, this is the news, I guess, I've now gotten to the point where I figured out a workflow, and God willing, I'll be able to keep this going, where I have content coming out every single day, and I'm very happy about that, and it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Now, it is all focused on my writing, which is a good thing, but there's other things I'd love to podcast about, and other things I'd love to work on, but honestly, my writing is the most important thing to me, and it's crucial that I turn my writing into a career, and the way I think I will be able to do that is by treating it like a career, giving it dedicated time every day, putting effort into it every day, and striving to make myself better every day. And also, the great thing with how I'm doing things is I'm making content, yes, but I'm also actually writing my books, and I'm sharing that with you. I'm being open and transparent, chronicling my journey as an author, artist, and analyzer, to show you how I tweak my designs when I'm drawing, to show you how I improve in my drawing craft over time, and also to show you my books as they're coming together, so you can see, the mistakes. If you look closely at the videos, you can watch as I erase things, or reject things, or I have whole sections that I say, I'm going to throw this out and I'm going to write over this, I'm going to completely delete this or trash it for now, and instead I'm going to write this, and then you get to see that, and I'm going to be talking about that in the process as well. And it won't be to the point where like you could stitch together all my stuff and get my books. I mean, you'd get like a really inferior version of them, because I'm going to go through and edit them and rewrite them as well, but that's something I plan to document as well as I go through. So anyway, I would love to do other stuff, but I really think I need to be focusing on my writing, which I'm doing, and everything I'm drawing it's not just random stuff. I'm drawing things that are pertinent to the stuff that I'm writing. So what I'm drawing right now, currently, as of February 26, 2024, is a series of drawings to figure out these monster characters for a story I want to write in the future. So yeah, I'm not writing Grobugs, I'm not drawing Grobugs, I'm not drawing Critterbots, which maybe I should be doing for Synergy. Instead I'm drawing stuff for another project, but I'm okay with that for now. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm happy to be doing that. And so my updates and my news are that I'm moving forward vehemently. I'm getting daily content out, even if it's short form, which is fine, and I'm writing actual stuff and drawing actual stuff, which I plan to use for future storytelling in the future. And my current project it's a Grobug Tale, and that is one of many Grobug Tales, indie Grobug Tales series overall. And I won't go much into it right now, although I will tell you, I'm starting on chapter 15 of Grobug Tales. I'm documenting and sharing that right now as I bring back the podcast for season 2 of Story Over Everything, and that's just something you're gonna have to be okay with. There's lost stuff, there's gaps, there's hidden things. Maybe if I get a Patreon going and I get people giving me a certain amount of money per month for that, I can say, I'll charge $30 an hour to set aside the effort and go comb through my archives and get all this stuff up, and I'll give it to the patrons first and then give it to other people later. I don't know. I may or may not do something like that. Just a thought. Ahem. That is to say, a thought I had spur of the moment and decided to share because of being overly transparent. And speaking of being overly transparent, I accidentally shut off my recording as I was finishing up what I was saying. But it reminded me I need to get back on focus because it's been about 10 minutes where I'm talking about stuff other than the premise of the episode that I promised to talk about, which is me making myself the master of middle grade. What does that mean? How dare I say that? And how can I accomplish that? Well, here's the thing. I want to write so many things, and I want to be involved in so much storytelling in different forms. I'd love to make comics or manga, anime, movies, whatever. To me, because the story is prime, story is over everything, I want to focus on just writing good stories. And I do understand that depending on what your medium is, you need to change the way that you tell your stories because stories are told in different ways depending on how they are consumed by the audience. And that's fine. However, you still need to have a compelling story for you to be successful in telling your story to people, whether it's over a campfire, over a VR headset, or, through a video game, or an audio drama, or anything else. So, that's important. That's definitely important, and that's something that's important, and that's something I understand, and it's something I acknowledge, and yet it is not something I have to fully address at this time. So, getting back to it. It turns out that the longer I'm writing, the more it seems like I'm turning myself into, or it looks like I'm moving towards being a middle grade book writer for, that age bracket, even though as an adult, I and other people have read middle grade books and enjoyed them. There's been, middle grade Star Wars books from the High Republic initiative that they did a few years back. I only read a couple, one middle grade and a couple of the adult novels, I think a middle grade YA and an adult novel or whatever. And, I had my thoughts on those. I talked about them. If you want to look through my archives of Fully Operational, you can find that stuff. Again, if you go to mjmunoz.com, you can look it up and find me talking about those Star Wars books. Probably if you type in Star Wars and books, you'll find something. Anyway, so, I think, for adults, I want to be a pulp writer. What does that mean? That means I want to write certain types of stories, and I want them to be at, a 60,000 word limit. Because of who I am, my pulp novels, they won't be lurid. They won't be necessarily... Well, anyway, they won't be lurid or exploitational, I guess you could say. They will be exciting and dramatic and have interesting characters in crazy scenarios and, dramatic high stakes and pulse-pounding pulp action. That's definitely going to be a part of it. But who I am, I'm not going to write... I'm not going to write certain types of things, and that's fine. I figure the pulp formula, the pulp model can be delivered to lots of different audiences, and the fact that there aren't scantily clad women on my book covers, and the fact that there aren't, hard-boiled grim detectives who change women like they're changing their cigarettes, or go through women like they're going through cigarettes, that's fine. And I don't know for a fact that a lot of the hard-boiled detectives are like James Bond, where there's a new woman every story. I, in fact, don't know that. So I'm just kind of making a presumption there. But that's not the kind of thing you're going to get in my pulpy novels. They'll definitely be superheroic, and they'll have other elements to them. And I do want romance and other things, but it's not going to be... It's going to be suited for my audience, which I really want to write all ages type stuff, but just tailor it towards... Well, if you like superheroes, you're going to like this. My wife, for example, doesn't like superhero stuff, but... Well, yeah, she doesn't like superhero stuff, and I don't anticipate she'd be interested in reading any of my books that I'm going to make, any of my pulp novels, but I've talked to her about some of the subplots and some of the different ideas I want. I have this one character who I want to have. I have this whole, life story planned out for her, and a whole romance and family life for her, and my wife says, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I still don't think I want to read it, but, I get where you're going with that, and that sounds cool. Like, if you dialed up the romance and the relationship stuff and, dialed down the super heroics, I'd be interested. And I told her, well, that's fine, but, you can go read that book right there and, leave my books alone. So, we have an understanding. But, before I get to writing my pulps, I want to develop my performance as a writer and my style as a writer and just my career as a writer, because I think that would be wise. And because I'm not interested in writing lurid, sensational, wildly inappropriate stuff, I figure, and since I'm into superheroics and fantasy, I figure I might be able to write for a child audience. And I, in my efforts to write the Grobug Tales, or Kid in the Grobug picture books, I realized I'm having a hard time constraining myself to what the modern market is for children's books, and that's part of the reason I want to self-publish my children's books, get them fully illustrated, and all that good stuff, which is going to take time and money. I'm more concerned about the money that it'll take than the time, because I figure, well, I just need to pay for it, and it'll take the artist the time, and those books are all written. But as I was thinking things through and realizing how many stories I have that are suitable for a child audience or a kid audience, I thought, well, maybe I should just shift my expectations of myself and go ahead and write middle grade books. And I don't say that to insult middle grade. I don't say that as a dig against middle grade books. I think they're important. I think they're good. I think, as a genre, I believe middle grade is more of a marketing thing, as most genres are, just so that people know where to put things. But, and I say that because the kinds of books that I like and the kinds of books that I prefer are not, I'm not even going to try to read Diary of a Wimpy Kid, or Captain Underpants, which I think those are novels, right? Or like middle grade, they're not comics like Dogman. Dave Pilkey did Captain Underpants and Dogman. Is that correct? I think that's right. Anyway, but that's not my style. I don't want goofy, zany, written at kids kind of books. I believe that The Hobbit is categorized as a middle grade book, or definitely could be categorized as a middle grade book. I went through a process to search out what middle grade books are, and I found a good collection of them. I also think, while it is zany and kooky, like James and the Giant Peach and, is it Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I can't remember, one of those two. I believe the book is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I believe those Roald Dahl books, Matilda as well, are all considered middle grade books, even though they kind of predate the categorization of middle grade, which is fine. But more to my point, the existence of things like that, proves that, or supports the idea that, middle grade is a kind of an artificial categorization that was created at some point, and it also supports my notion that I want to write books that are good for everybody, but that are targeted at children. And what does that mean? That means the content will fall within certain parameters, as far as what is allowed to happen in the books, how those things will be framed, and I think the books will be written in a more simple style. Now, I'm just thinking right now, I would assume that at this point in my career as a writer, because I've written so little, that I wouldn't be able to necessarily, with ease and reliably and consistently, write something that is a middle grade book, and then switch over to writing a pulp novel, a superhero pulp novel meant for teenagers, adults, or whoever, but that is also accessible to a kid. I don't necessarily think I'd be able to do that right now. I would like to hone my writing so that I'm able to do those things, but like I said, as of now, I don't think I have that skill. The expectations of middle grade books are a shorter length, even than the 60K that I'm looking for my pulp novels. Okay, so I had an interruption there on multiple levels, and now I just want to sharpen my point and say that I think in order to level up myself as a writer, I want to set myself more realistic goal, or the more realistic goal of writing several middle grade books and having that be my project for the next couple years. And by that I mean exclusively writing middle grade books. And after I've done with those, then I can move on. I'm not saying I will entirely abandon those series. If they're lucrative and I still feel like writing them, then I will continue to pour more work into them, and maybe just, continue them on a whatever schedule I determine works for me, while I'm switching over to doing my pulp superhero novels. But then again, I may be able to do both, especially the more success I gain as an author, the more time I'll be able to put into writing, and the more and more I would treat writing as a job instead of, 10 minutes a day goal of writing. I would give myself a, half hour, then an hour, then 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and really push myself to, during that time, be productive and write book after book after book. And that's my preference. I like ongoing series. I like, longish narratives, but I also like for there to be a fine point where I get to see the beginning, middle, and end of a story. I get to see an arc for a character, or for, events in the character's life, and then get to see the adventure continue as the character progresses, somewhat slowly. And I think having the more narrow focus of a middle grade and getting more finished books under my belt, that'll all help me in my goal of becoming a better writer, because I imagine that everything I finish will have a positive cumulative effect. As long as I'm reflecting and thinking about things as I go along, I can do that. So, is me writing books going to make me the master of middle grade? No, not necessarily. I think it's important to know your audience and to know your market. So, I've decided that I will, over the course of 2024, read and review a series of middle grade books. What am I talking about? Chronicles of Narnia? Diary of a Wimpy Kid? No, of course not. Not Wimpy Kid. That does not seem like it would appeal to me. And frankly, I don't want to give it a chance. And I think that's okay. So, what I've decided to do is I've done some research. I've looked into things, and I've made a list. I've made two lists. One is classic middle grade books, so to speak, and the other is modern middle grade books. And classic, I'm going as late as the 1980s, 1990s, I believe, and middle grade, or modern, I'm going as early as the 1990s, 2000s. I believe that's how I have it broken down. And what I've done is I'm going to basically read these books in chronological order, and I will rotate. I will start, because I have an aversion to the modern stuff, just because I like classic things so much more. Because I have an aversion to the modern stuff, I figure I'm going to push myself out of my comfort zone, and whatever the earliest modern middle grade book is on my list, I will read and review that first. And then I will, excuse me, and then I will read and review a classic. And about once a week, I'll be releasing a special Skimming Leaves episode / something else, Story Over Everything episode, where I will be doing a casual book chat on each one of those and talking about whether or not I think the books are worthy, whether or not they're quality, and yeah, I'll be ranking the books basically and saying where I think they belong. And I think that'll be good. I think that'll give me some authority, having sampled so much children's fiction, so much middle grade fiction, for to make the term broad, from the past to the present. So I don't know that I have anything from 2024 in there, but I definitely have stuff from the 2020s and all in between there. So I think I'll get a really interesting cross section of books, and I've spread out the genres. Basically, so it'll there will be fantasy, there will be more modern stuff, things I'm not really interested in reading, other than the fact that I want to do this kind of challenge for myself and establish myself. And I don't anticipate that I will hate those books. I just think that while they may not be my preference, there very well may be merit in them. I may enjoy them a lot. Who knows? I'm not going to say that I will not like Wonder. It seems weird to me, and I've seen that book different places pop up, and I thought, I don't know what this is about, and I feel like the author doesn't, or the author or the publisher, excuse me, doesn't really want me to know what this is about, wants me to guess, and I don't like that, because I just want to know what the book is, so I can determine whether or not I'm interested in it, and then read it, but I feel like you're trying to trick me, and I don't like that, but then I'll go ahead and talk about it. So, I think, I haven't decided the format 100%, I kind of think I'll say, like, this is my first impression of this book, based on the title, based on the author, or what I know about the author, and then I'll say, here it is, I'm going to read this book, and these are the things I liked, didn't like. This is, well, it'll be a casual book chat. You know how those go if you've been around, and if not, that's basically how it goes. I just talk about the book in a kind of an unstructured, loose way. And I'll be doing this series while I'm doing everything else, and it'll all be released on the podcast feed on Story Over Everything. And actually, I had kind of started a middle grade series, actually two. So I was reading Squall Charleston's Terror Valley series, and there's one more book scheduled to come out. So I'll be reading / listening to that and sharing my thoughts on it. Probably interviewing Squall as I've done with the other two books, and then I actually have the 4 more Harry Potter books to release a episode about, a casual book chat about, and one of them I worked on today. I'm going to publish it after this, or I'm going to process it after this, and then the others I have basically ready to go. I need to do some modifications to them and then get those released. So I'm very much prepared to do that, and I'll get those released hopefully in rapid succession before March starts tonight. In doing my research, I found out there's something called Middle Grade March, and I didn't know all the details of it. It seems a little funny to me, a little gimmicky, but that's okay. Gimmicks gimmicks are good sometimes, and I may employ some of my own gimmicks in talking about middle grade books, but basically, the first week of March, I should be releasing the first of my middle grade things, so I'm kind of hitching myself to that middle grade March thing, effort, whatever, and that could be kind of interesting. I'll see what happens with that, especially with, I'll be curious to see how people receive my take on middle grade, and then, who knows, maybe, since I want to be in the middle grade world, I might just keep tabs on in like 2025, if we're all still here, keep working on middle grade stuff as well, reviewing it, writing it and reviewing it, and I don't know, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. I might keep that as like a monthly feature or something like that, where I talk about a middle grade book a month, and yeah, I think that would be interesting. So that's my plan, and that's my update, that's my plan, that's my announcement, that's everything that I have going for this episode. And I just ask that you stick around and you look forward to everything I have coming down the pike, and I think it'll be good stuff, entertaining and fun for us all, and I'm really excited about some of these books, and I'm really interested to see how I will receive everything I read, because there's a lot there. It'll fill up 2024 if I do one a week, and it'll be really interesting to see what middle grade feels like to me after going through all of these books, and yeah, I'm really curious to see how people react to my reactions to a lot of these books, new and old. Anyway, I believe that's it for now, so I'm going to thank you for listening, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is MJ, signing out. I hope you enjoyed that. Go to mjmunoz.com to leave any questions, comments, or other feedback you might have. There you can find all of my analysis, art, and fiction. I cover books, tokusatsu, comic books, anime, and more. Look around. You're sure to find something else that you'll enjoy as well. This has been a Story Over Everything production.